I went camping about 3 weekends ago in the Huntsville National Forest in Texas. Me and 3 friends that came home for the weekend, they're all in college, and usually we all get together at least once a year, old friends from high school after all. For the camping trip, we planned to go backpacking deep in the forest, live off fish that we catch and animals that we trap. We've been doing this for a while in Texas in numerous places, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, so we're pretty much used to anything you'd encounter out there. This year, it was my turn to pick where we went camping, so I chose Huntsville. More accurately, it's Huntsville/New Waverly. So we drive up there, park our car in a camping park spot, and start walking off into the forest. We had some laughs along the way, everyone's catching up with each other's lives. We walked until it started to get dark and set up camp where we stopped. Everyone gathered wood to make a fire and we set up tent up. And we do what we always do, try and scare each other with some weird stories. Around this time we started to smell something very faint. It was noticeable, but not overbearing. We couldn't put our finger on what it was, so we just carried on. Mike had to go piss, and he walked into the forest. A second later he came running back, piss all down his jeans like he's missed really bad. Immediately we all crack up and throw jokes at him. Then we noticed that he was white as snow and trying to catch his breath. He starts screaming for us to follow and runs off, not knowing what the problem was. We start to hear a faint scream and crying in the distance, in the direction we were running in. It was pitch black away from the camp, and Mike had the only flashlight. We left ours back at the camp. He had his from taking a trip to go to the toilet. So at this stage we didn't have much choice but to follow the light, which was frantically pointing here and there in front of him. The scream gets closer and Mike begins to slow down. We then notice a ratty old cabin that looks like it was abandoned, except for a faint light we could see from one of the mildew-covered windows. The crying was intense. Whoever it was couldn't breathe enough to let out a full yell. We all followed Mike up to the front door, and we could hear crying from the inside. As soon as he knocked on the door, it stopped. We all waited and heard heavy footsteps walking past the door. There was a giant slam against the door and the sound of a bolt unlocking, then nothing. We waited for a bit, knocked a few more times, but still nothing happened. We walked around the house and noticed a window which was a good way up. Alex took a deep breath and asked us to give him a boost so he could see inside. Me and Mike lifted him up to the window. We watched him brush away dirt and webs from the window and place his face close to it, trying to see something. There was a quick beat. Then he suddenly breathed in fast and let out a loud scream. He fell back from the window, screaming bloody murder the whole way. We all tried to calm him down, but he was hysterical. We went to him, but he started to shake, punch, kick, you name it, and took off towards the camp. None of us wanted to be separated, so we all ran close behind him. We caught up to him and grabbed him and set him down. The fire was dying out, so I grabbed some nearby wood that we collected it and added it to the fire. My hands were shaking. I had to do something. I went back to Alex and we all tried to calm him down. He kept screaming and was breathing so hard he eventually fainted. All of us were terrified, and we all kept the fire high till sunrise. Periodically, Alex kept waking up and screaming just like before. By sunrise, he was up and looked catatonic, just mumbling to himself and whimpering. Me and Mike decided to go and look at the cabin now it was daylight. We searched where we thought it was, except there was nothing there. Nothing at all. The indistinct smell from last night had now grown into a very strong smell of something dead, something stale. We headed back to the camping site. When we got there, we found Alex had chewed into the side of his face and swallowed so much blood that he was throwing up. John was at his back and looked like he was about to die from exhaustion. I guess we all looked that way. I just didn't notice until I saw his face. Alex said quietly, "Oh, we need to leave. Now." We all started to pack up the tent. It started to rain really heavily, and the sky started to grow really dark. Alex started to go into a panic. He went and grabbed a big stick and he yelled at us to leave it. Leave it now, or he'll knock us out and drag us out of here himself. Mike started to yell at him, and they started to fight. We broke it up and finished packing, and then started to make our way back. After a little while, we arrived at the creek we had crossed the previous day, only it was flooded over, and the water was moving too fast for us to cross it. Alex started to scream again, yelling at Mike for just taking up his time packing up the tent when we could have gotten out of here. This went on for a while until we'd finally convinced Alex to calm down and tell us what happened. He said as soon as he put his face to the glass, a face on the other side did the same thing and started to smile, really big. It had dark eyes and a dark mouth, which was much bigger than Alex's. As the smile got as large as it could, a giant shadow behind it swung something down and sliced its face off. The face was stuck to the window, and he said it started to laugh quietly as it slid down. Mike, still pissed off, started arguing with him again. We eventually started to follow the creek for our way to the cross. We then started to see toys floating in the creek. Really old toys, old Barbie dolls and baby dolls. This wasn't like any old trash floating in the creek though. This was a lot of Barbies, a lot of dolls. One washed towards the side and Mike picked it up. It had some kind of a voice chip that was dying and started to say some gurgling words we couldn't understand, followed by its sad excuse for laughter. Then it sounded like it was whispering. We thought the batteries must be dying, so threw it down. We kept going and the sun was starting to set. Alex was freaking out more now. He was whimpering and breathing heavily. We'd all started to see shadows move behind the trees, something we all called bullshit on until we were seeing it for ourselves. It was barely light out, and we stop as we see the cabin right in front of us. None of us knows what to think. Mike says, "This is bull. I'm going in there." Alex tries to stop him. We all do. All of us just wanted to go home. Mike says to us all to fuck off, to do our own thing. He doesn't care anymore, but this is all bull. We start to hear hundreds of the same sort of baby doll noises as before, laughing, whispering and trying to sing. We start to move forward past the cabin, all of us, and kept pushing forward. We smelled something dead in the air, the same stale smell as before. We start to hear something crying and screaming. We kept on going. We eventually crossed the creek and left the woods. We get back to our vehicle and got in. It's pitch black and we drive. We're about to get on the 45 to Houston, but the road is under construction and can't be accessed. It points to a detour. As we head towards it, it seems to be pretty small. A small, bumpy dirt road lay in front of us, going back into the woods. We then see a young girl come up to us. She looks like she was really in trouble. Young and pretty. She approaches the passenger side of the door and looks like she's really drugged up or beaten up. Alex doesn't roll down the windows, nor does he open the door. He reaches for the handle and immediately locks it. She puts on her face on the window and starts to smile really big. We floor it. Alex starts to scream and cry and we're all heavily breathing. We finally cut on a street that takes us to the 45 and we take it the whole way. When we get back to my apartment, we all break apart and go our separate ways. Mike messages me later and says he's going back. I try to convince him not to, and all he does is say it was our own minds screwing with us. I think he just wanted to prove to himself he wasn't scared. I can smell that stench everywhere now. I don't go out, I just stay in, I don't answer the door. Last week everyone I met was acting really strange. People that I knew for a long time and total strangers. My own dad. When I went to his place to eat supper with him, he just watched me, strangely, when I was sitting down. He didn't say a word the entire time. I kept asking, "What's wrong?" And he just slowly shook his head. When I was leaving to go home, I turned to wave. He had black eyes and an open mouth like he was in pain. When I started to walk back, he shut the door and bolted it.
I stayed there knocking and knocking. Nothing, and I called him. His phone was disconnected. I even called the police. Halfway through the questions they were asking me, the connection started to fade into static. I could hear a faint mumbling, singing and laughing. Mike has completely vanished. There's not even a record of being alive. When I call Alex's house, they talk to me like I'm some salesman. They say they don't know of any Alex and please stop calling. The person who tells me that is Alex's mother. I can't get a hold of John. Someone knocked on my door, and when I went to look, I saw a face completely covering the peephole and a giant smile started to form. I called the cops again, and instead of turning to static, they got really strange. Sir, are you affected by any drugs at the moment? No. Are you coming home anytime soon? Excuse me? Come home. And the phone call ended. My mail slot swings every now and again. Someone's hiding pieces of baby dolls through it. I try to call people now and all I hear is static and the baby doll noises, and there's crying and screaming. My TV's busted, but when I go to piss I can hear it on. I might be going insane. Whoever lives above me started to scream in pain and crying deeply recently. I hear giant footsteps from their apartment. I hear bangs and falling to the ground. From the neighbours to the right, I hear sounds like a baby that never gets tended to, and then sounds of a baby doll who needs batteries. My phone's been ringing now, and it's Alex telling me things in a language I've never heard, nor I could even manage to repeat. I kept getting emails of black and small colorations. Now I can't even access my email. Someone knocks on the door. I slam against it. I hear the bolts unlocking one by one, and I run to make sure I lock all of them back. And here I am, writing this. Tears are flooding on the sheets, but I don't care anymore. I just want this to be done. Alright, thank you all so much for watching. This is my third video now, and I hope you're enjoying them, I guess. This was suggested by Marrissa, so thank you for that. And yeah, just leave suggestions down in the comments of what you want to see, and yeah, maybe I'll hopefully get around to doing them. There's a bunch of schoolwork though, so just trying to fit everything in. Yeah, so that's all from Grace, and I'll see you in the next video.